It was a quiet morning in the heart of Siberia. The sun had just begun to rise over the vast forest near the Podkamennaya Tunguska River. Birds chirped. The air was still. Villagers went about their day, unaware that, in a matter of seconds, their world would change forever. At 7:17 a.m. on June 30th, 1908, the sky exploded. A massive fireball tore through the atmosphere, brighter than the sun, followed by a shockwave that flattened 2,000 square kilometers of forest. Over 80 million trees were incinerated or knocked down in an instant. People as far as 500 miles away were thrown from their chairs. Windows shattered. Horses panicked. The sky burned and then turned silent. An event that scientists are still trying to fully understand. An explosion so powerful it could have wiped out an entire city if it had struck just hours later. No crater was ever found, no impact site, just scorched earth and questions. This is the story of the Tunguska event, the largest explosion ever recorded on Earth that wasn't caused by humans. So what exactly happened that morning, and why has no one been able to prove it, even over a century later? At the time, Russia was deep in political turmoil. The region of Tunguska was so remote that no official investigation was conducted for nearly 20 years. No journalists, no scientists, just rumors. Some locals spoke of a second sun in the sky, a fragment of an asteroid. Others described a column of fire shooting downward, followed by a violent shockwave. Reindeer herders claimed the trees exploded into flames, but with no crater in the middle. Instead, the trees at the epicenter were still standing but stripped bare of their branches, like a forest of matchsticks. When Soviet scientists finally reached the site in 1927, they found something extraordinary. Millions of trees were flattened in a perfect radio pattern, all pointing away from a central point. It was as if the explosion had happened above the ground. Theories flooded in. A meteor, a comet. Scientists agreed it was likely an object from space, but the lack of a crater was puzzling. No fragments were found. No metals, no minerals. Could it have been a comet, made mostly of ice, that vaporized in the atmosphere before touching Earth? That would explain the lack of debris, but not the sheer scale of the destruction. Whatever it was, it released energy estimated to be between 10 and 15 megatons, roughly 1,000 times the power of the Hiroshima bomb. And in 2013, a much smaller meteor exploded over Silebansk, Russia, injuring over 1,500 people. It was caught on video by dozens of The shockwave shattered windows across the city. And here's the terrifying part. If the Tunguska object had entered Earth's atmosphere just a few hours later, it would have exploded over St. Petersburg, killing hundreds of thousands instantly. Are not always friendly, but not everyone believes it was a meteor. Some proposed wild ideas. A black hole collided with Earth, an antimatter explosion, a UFO crash. Yes, really. Or even a secret Tesla weapon test gone wrong. In fact, Nikola Tesla was experimenting with wireless energy transmission at the time. Conspiracy theorists love to point fingers, and yet none of these theories have ever been proven or entirely disproven. The Tunguska event remains a scientific enigma. We now know that small asteroids and comets regularly pass close to Earth. It was a chilling reminder. Tunguska was not a one-time fluke. Earth is vulnerable. There's more waiting beyond the skies. And the truth is often stranger than fiction. And the skies, so ask yourself, what if the Tunguska object had been bigger? What if it had hit New York, or London, or Tokyo? Would we still call it a mystery, or a warning? Over 100 years later, the forests of Tunguska have grown back. The scars are fading, but the questions remain. What really happened that day in 1908? Was it a cosmic accident, a warning from the universe, or something far stranger? And the biggest question of all, could it happen again? If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell.